Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive.
Yes.
This time we're going to be talking all about ditching self-doubt.
Yeah.
Unleashing our inner badass.
Love it.
With Jen Sincero's
You are a badass. Yeah. It's like a pep talk and a practical guide.
Absolutely.
All rolled into one.
Totally.
Get ready for some serious aha moments as we break down the key takeaways from this book.
Yeah, what's really cool about this book is that it doesn't just tell you to think positive thoughts.
Right.
It actually dives into the nitty-gritty of how our subconscious mind, often shaped by, experiences we had as kids, can totally sabotage our dreams without us even realizing it.
Kind of freaky, right?
It is.
Like stuff from our childhood is still messing with us.
Yeah.
Sincero calls this our subconscious blueprint. It's like this invisible map that dictates how we react to things, how we see ourselves, even how successful we are.
Absolutely. Think of it like this.
Imagine you want to ace a presentation at work.
Okay.
But deep down, maybe from being told you were too quiet as a kid, you have this belief that you're not a good speaker.
Right.
So guess what?
What?
You might unconsciously sabotage yourself.
Oh.
Maybe by procrastinating on prepping or getting super nervous during the actual presentation.
It's like your brain is working against you.
Totally.
Yeah, Sincero uses this crazy story about a bowling alley accident to show how this subconscious stuff can play out in really weird ways.
Yeah.
Apparently she had this bad fall while bowling and ended up with chronic back pain.
What's wild is that she later realized the pain was linked to a subconscious belief that she wasn't coordinated or athletic, a belief that stemmed from childhood experiences.
So it's not just in our heads, it can actually affect us physically.
It can.
This is getting deep.
It is deep.
So how do we rewrite this subconscious blueprint?
Right.
We can't just go back in time and have a perfect childhood, right?
Right. We can't change the past.
Right.
But we can change how we react to it. Sincero talks about something called the big snooze, which is basically our ego. This is the part of us that loves to keep us in our comfort zone, even if it means we're miserable, by clinging to fear and limiting beliefs.
It's like the big snooze is saying, stay small, stay safe, don't even try.
Exactly.
No wonder so many of us feel stuck.
It thrives on outside validation, seeking approval from others to determine our worth. The big snooze tells us we're not good enough, not smart enough, not worthy of good things. It loves to remind us of our past failures, fueling anxieties about the future, and ultimately preventing us from being truly present in this moment.
Okay, so we need to ditch the big snooze and wake up to our true potential.
Yes.
Sincero contrasts the big snooze with our true selves. I know this might sound a little woo-woo, but stick with me. She's saying our true selves are connected to this thing called source energy.
It's the part of us that's pure love, pure potential, where anything is possible. It operates from a place of abundance and knows that we are worthy simply because we exist.
Okay, I can get on board with that.
Good.
So how do we quiet down the big snooze and start tapping into that awesome true self?
Well,
Sincero has some pretty rad ideas.
She does.
And one of them is self-love.
Now, before you roll your eyes and think this is all about bubble baths and face masks, let's be clear. Self-love, according to Sincero, isn't about being arrogant or self-absorbed. It's about recognizing your inherent worthiness just as you are.
So basically treating yourself with the same kindness and respect you'd offer to a good friend.
Exactly. Sincero uses this heartwarming story about her nephew to illustrate this point. He was a toddler, happily picking up objects that had been dropped on the floor, and her brother made this observation. Kids just have this natural sense of worthiness. They haven't learned to doubt themselves yet.
That's so true.
Isn't it?
Kids are like little gurus of self-love.
They are.
They haven't been bombarded with all those societal messages telling them they're not good enough.
Exactly.
They just own it, flaws and all. So how do we reclaim that superpower?
Well, Sincero provides a bunch of practical tips, and some of them might surprise you. One of the most powerful tools is using affirmations.
Now, I know some people think affirmations are a little cheesy. Like, I'm a beautiful butterfly soaring through the sky.
I get it.
But Sincero gives them a badass edge.
She does. It's not just about repeating random positive phrases.
Right.
It's about choosing affirmations that address your specific limiting beliefs. Imagine using affirmations to break free from that nagging voice that says you're not good enough or not smart enough.
So if you constantly worry about not being successful enough, you could try an affirmation like, I am capable of achieving anything I set my mind to, and repeat it daily.
Exactly. And the cool thing about affirmations is that they work on a subconscious level.
Interesting.
By repeating them consistently, you're basically rewiring your brain to think differently.
So instead of weeding out negativity, we're planting positive vibes.
That's it.
I dig it. What else can we do to cultivate this radical self-love?
Another key practice is engaging in activities that bring you joy. Things that light you up. It could be anything from dancing like nobody's watching to spending time in nature to pursuing a creative hobby.
I'm all about that. When was the last time you did something purely for the fun of it?
Well, I recently started taking pottery classes.
Really?
And it's been amazing.
You're a badass potter in the making.
There you go.
And this is exactly what Sincero's talking about.
Yeah.
When we prioritize our passions, we're sending a powerful message to ourselves that we're worthy of happiness and fulfillment.
And it doesn't have to be anything grand or expensive. It's about finding those little things that make you feel alive and connected to your true self.
Self-care is another biggie.
Yes.
And again, this isn't just about spa days and mani-pedis, although those are awesome too.
Of course.
Sincero emphasizes the importance of making choices that support your well-being on all levels, physically, emotionally, and mentally.
It's about listening to your body's cues.
Yeah.
And giving yourself what you need to thrive.
Right.
This could be anything from getting enough sleep and eating nourishing foods to taking breaks when you're feeling overwhelmed.
And remember, self-care isn't selfish.
No.
It's essential for showing up as the best version of yourself.
Absolutely.
So to recap, we're taming the big snooze by practicing radical self-love, affirmations, pursuing joy, and prioritizing self-care.
Exactly. And all of this lays the groundwork for something pretty amazing. Living in the present moment.
Living in the now.
Yes.
I hear this all the time, but honestly, how do we actually do it?
Right.
Our minds are constantly racing. Replaying the past. Worrying about the future.
It's like our brains are stuck on a hamster wheel of thoughts.
Yes.
Sincero calls this being present moment awareness. And it's about shifting your focus from the anxieties of the past and worries about the future to the richness of right now.
So it's about savoring each experience, whether it's the taste of your morning coffee or the warmth of the sun on your skin.
Sincero describes her own struggle with this in a yoga class. She was going back and forth between feeling frustrated with a difficult pose, worrying about getting injured, and then suddenly, boom, she'd experienced these moments of pure bliss as she surrendered to the present moment.
It sounds like she was battling her big snooze right there on the yoga mat.
She was.
But she also discovered that peace and joy are available to us in every moment.
They are.
If we can just quiet our minds and tune in.
And she suggests taking inspiration from animals and young children.
Oh, yeah.
They're masters of present moment awareness.
Totally.
Think about it. Animals don't dwell on the past.
Right.
Or fret about the future.
Nope.
They're totally absorbed in each experience, whether it's enjoying a good scratch or chasing a squirrel.
And little kids are the same way.
Yes.
They're completely present in their play, their creativity, their explorations.
They haven't learned to overthink or get bogged down by anxieties.
It's like they're reminding us that joy and presence are natural states of being.
Exactly. And when we cultivate present moment awareness, we open ourselves up to a world of possibilities.
Right.
We release the grip of fear and step into a state of trust and flow.
So by embracing self-love and present moment awareness, we're basically creating a launch pad for living a badass life.
We are.
But how do we figure out what that badass life actually looks like?
Right.
How do we discover our unique calling?
That's where the next part of our deep dive comes in. Sincero has some seriously cool tools for uncovering our purpose and creating a life that feels aligned with our true selves.
All right, wait.
Stay tuned.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back, deep divers. We're ready to explore how to tap into our unique purpose and unleash our inner badass. It's time to discover our calling, that thing that makes us feel truly alive and makes the world a brighter place.
This is where things get really exciting.
Yeah.
Sincero offers some practical exercises and insights that can help us uncover what we're meant to do and create a life that feels aligned with our true selves.
Sometimes the whole finding your calling thing can feel a little overwhelming.
I agree.
Like, what if I miss my calling? What if I pick the wrong one?
Sincero has this great exercise that helps us see things with fresh eyes.
Oh, yeah.
She calls it Be the Alien.
I love that one.
It's a fantastic way to gain a fresh perspective on our lives.
Yes.
Imagine you're an alien, inhabiting your own body, experiencing everything for the first time.
Okay.
What would you think if you saw a coffee maker?
Right.
Like, can you imagine walking into your kitchen and seeing a coffee maker for the first time ever?
Oh my gosh.
What would you think that thing was?
Yeah, like, what is that contraption?
I tried this and it was hilarious. It's like hitting the reset button on your perception.
Right.
Suddenly, those everyday things that we take for granted become interesting and new again.
Exactly. And when we see our lives through this alien lens, we can start to notice our strengths, our talents, our passions more clearly.
Right.
It helps us tap into those things that we're naturally drawn to, you know? The things that make us say, time flies when I'm doing this.
It's like shaking off the cobwebs of routine and seeing ourselves with brand new eyes. What would your alien self be most curious about?
Well, Sincero prompts us to ask ourselves some really key questions. What are you naturally good at? What do you enjoy doing most? What opportunities are around you right now that you might be overlooking? You know, sometimes the best opportunities are right under our noses.
So true. It's easy to get caught up in the daily grind and lose sight of the bigger picture.
Yeah.
But Be the Alien encourages us to step outside of our usual thinking and reconnect with those things that spark joy.
And once we start to tap into those things that light us up, Sincero reminds us that action is key. She has this great quote: most answers reveal themselves through doing, not thinking.
I needed to hear that. I'm such an overthinker sometimes.
Me too.
It's easy to get stuck in analysis paralysis, but sometimes we just need to take the leap and see what happens.
Absolutely. It's about building momentum and trusting that the path will unfold as we go.
Right.
Even if we don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
Taking that first step, even a small one, can make all the difference.
It's like we have to give the universe a little nudge to show we're serious about pursuing our dreams. Sincero actually shares her own story of discovering her calling as a coach. She was feeling lost and uncertain about her purpose, but she kept taking those small steps, following her intuition, and things eventually fell into place.
Yes, and it's a great reminder that finding our calling isn't always this big dramatic aha moment, like a bolt of lightning. It can be a gradual process of exploration and discovery. It's like following a trail of breadcrumbs.
I like that.
Trusting that each step will lead us closer to where we're meant to be.
I think a lot of us put pressure on ourselves to have it all figured out.
I know.
But it's reassuring to know that it's okay to evolve and change our minds along the way.
Exactly. Sincero also has this cool suggestion. She says, to look at people who are already doing things that make you a little jealous. In a good way. Not jealous in a negative way, but in a way that makes you think, wow, I wish I could do that.
Okay, so if you're feeling inspired by someone's career, their lifestyle, their creative endeavors, that's a clue. What is it about their life that lights you up?
Exactly. It's like a treasure hunt for your own passions.
It is.
It's about getting inspired by those who are already living their dreams and then figuring out how we can incorporate those elements into our own lives. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, just find a way to make it our own.
Sincero encourages us to get really specific.
Yeah.
It's not enough to say, I wish I was a famous musician. Ask yourself, what is it about being a musician that I find appealing? Is it the creative expression, performing for an audience? The freedom of making my own schedule?
Those are great questions. By getting clear on what we truly admire, we start to paint a clearer picture of what we truly desire. And remember, finding our calling is not a one-and-done deal.
No.
It's an ongoing process that can evolve and change over time.
That takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
It's so liberating to know that we're allowed to have multiple passions and pursue different paths throughout our lives. I might be a podcast host today, but who knows what amazing adventures tomorrow hold.
Exactly. It's all about embracing the journey and allowing ourselves to grow and evolve. But once we've got a good sense of our calling, how do we actually start making it a reality? Sincero talks about the importance of something pretty powerful, gratitude.
Okay, gratitude. I know this is a big buzzword in the self-help world.
It is.
But honestly, sometimes it feels a little too simplistic.
Okay.
Like, how can just being thankful change my life?
Well, Sincero has a really interesting perspective on it.
Okay.
She calls it the gateway drug to awesomeness.
Okay, now that got my attention.
Yeah.
What does she mean by that?
She believes that gratitude raises our vibration and aligns us with source energy. Remember that amazing energy we talked about earlier?
Yes.
Making us more receptive to receiving what we desire.
So it's not just about feeling thankful for what we already have.
Right.
But also about cultivating gratitude
Yeah.
for the things we want to create in our lives.
Yes.
It's like we're sending a signal to the universe saying, I'm ready to receive all the good stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about shifting from a mindset of lack.
Okay.
I'm not enough.
Yeah.
To a mindset of abundance. There's plenty for everyone and I'm worthy of receiving it.
I love that shift in perspective. It's like opening ourselves up to a world of possibilities.
Yes.
Instead of focusing on what we're missing.
Yes.
Sincero has this hilarious story.
Okay.
About how her parents made her answer the phone in this super formal way when she was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Can you believe it? They made her answer with Jennifer Sincero speaking, as if they were like running their own businesses.
I love that.
Isn't that funny? And she later realized that her parents, without even realizing it, were teaching her a valuable lesson.
Yes.
About gratitude.
Right.
By answering the phone that way, she was acknowledging the privilege of having a phone.
Yeah.
And the ability to connect with others.
Yeah.
Sometimes the most profound lessons come from the most unexpected places.
So true. And gratitude is all about appreciating the good in our lives.
Yeah.
No matter how big or small. It's like training ourselves to see the world through a lens of abundance instead of scarcity.
Okay, so how do we actually cultivate more gratitude in our lives?
Yeah.
I'm ready to tap into this gateway drug to awesomeness.
Well, Sincero has this technique she calls "this is good because."
Sounds intriguing.
Tell me more. It's basically training your brain to find the silver lining in any situation, even the challenging ones.
Right.
Let's say you're having a rough day. You spill coffee on your shirt. You miss the bus. You get stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
Instead of spiraling into negativity. Ask yourself, this is good because, and see what comes up.
Okay, let me try spilled coffee. This is good because now I have an excuse to buy that cute new shirt I've been eyeing, missed the bus. This is good because maybe I'll meet someone interesting at the bus stop.
Yes.
Stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
This is good because it gives me time to listen to my favorite podcast.
Exactly. It's a simple but powerful way to shift your perspective. It's like you're saying to the universe, okay, I see you, and I'm choosing to find the good in this.
I love that. Instead of focusing on what's wrong, we're actively looking for what's right, even in those less than ideal moments. It's like we're turning lemons into lemonade, or maybe even a delicious lemon meringue pie.
And another classic way to cultivate gratitude is by writing thank you notes. But not just any thank you notes.
Right.
Sincero suggests writing down 10 things you're grateful for every night before bed. It could be anything from the cozy bed you're sleeping in to a delicious meal you enjoyed to a kind word from a friend.
That's such a great practice. I've done that before.
Me too.
And it's amazing how it shifts your focus to all the good things in your life.
Yeah.
It's like creating a gratitude journal for your soul.
Exactly. And by consistently focusing on what we're grateful for, we create a more positive and abundant energy, which can help us manifest our desires more easily.
So we're taking action. We're practicing gratitude.
Yes.
And we're starting to believe in our own badassery. But there's one more crucial ingredient that Sincero addresses: forgiveness.
Forgiveness. This can be a tough one, right? It's so easy to hold on to grudges and resentments. We've all been there.
Oh, for sure. Sometimes it feels like those grudges become a part of us.
Yeah.
Like an unwelcome house guest that just won't leave.
Yeah.
But I'm open to hearing Sincero's take on this. Why is forgiveness so important?
Well, she emphasizes that forgiveness isn't about condoning someone else's actions or saying what they did was okay. It's about freeing ourselves from the burden of resentment. It's about recognizing that holding on to anger and bitterness hurts us more than anyone else.
It's like we're carrying around all this heavy baggage, and forgiveness is the key to unlocking those chains and finally setting ourselves free.
She offers some practical steps for finding forgiveness. And one that really resonated with me is the idea of cultivating compassion for the person we need to forgive. Imagine that person as a child, full of innocence and vulnerability.
That's a powerful suggestion. When we see someone through that lens, it's easier to understand that their actions might have been driven by their own pain, fear, or confusion. It helps us remember that we're all just doing the best we can with the tools we have.
Exactly. Sincero compares the process of forgiveness to pulling a bullet out of an arm. It might hurt at first, but ultimately it's the only way to allow that wound to heal. And we're not doing it for the other person. We're doing it for ourselves. We're reclaiming our peace of mind.
Forgiveness is like a gift we give to ourselves, paving the way for greater healing and happiness. But how do we forgive ourselves? What about those times when we're holding on to guilt and regret over our own past mistakes?
That's a great question, and Sincero has some wise words on that as well.
We're back and ready for the final part of our deep dive into You're a Badass.
Yeah.
We've talked about self-love, gratitude, forgiveness, all those inner game changers.
Yeah.
But how do we actually take all this awesome knowledge and turn it into action?
Yeah, how do we make those big, bold moves and create the lives we dream of?
Exactly. Sincero really drives this point home with an incredible story about Henry Ford.
Oh, yeah.
And his quest to create the V8 engine.
Love this story.
Oh, yeah. I love this story, too.
Yeah.
It's such a classic example of how powerful it can be to make a decision and stick with it no matter what. Ford had this vision for a revolutionary engine design, but his engineers kept telling him it was impossible.
Can you imagine being one of those engineers that's like, dude, we literally cannot make this thing you're asking for? But Ford was relentless. He refused to let their doubts or perceived limitations stop him. He basically said, figure it out.
Talk about badass determination.
Yeah.
He believed in his vision so strongly that he wouldn't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
And guess what? They eventually cracked the code, and the V8 engine became a game changer in the automobile industry.
It did.
It's a testament to the power of believing in yourself.
Totally.
Even when everyone else thinks you're crazy.
Yeah.
And here's another interesting twist to the story. Ford had actually gone bankrupt in his first attempt at building a car company.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So he experienced massive failure before achieving massive success. That's actually pretty inspiring. It shows that failure isn't the end of the story. It can be a stepping stone to something even greater.
Exactly. Sincero emphasizes this throughout the book. It's like she's giving us permission to mess up, to fall down, to get back up and try again. She encourages us to embrace failure as an opportunity for growth and learning.
So how can we become more decisive? More like Henry Ford, minus the bankruptcy part.
Well, Sincero has some practical tips for us mere mortals. She suggests setting deadlines for ourselves, even for things we might be procrastinating on. It's about creating a sense of urgency and stopping that endless cycle of overthinking.
I need to try that. I'm the queen of putting things off until the last minute.
And she also talks about the importance of eliminating the negotiation process, that back and forth we do with ourselves when we're trying to make a decision.
Oh, I know that all too well.
Yeah.
It's like one part of me wants to go for it, and the other part is saying, whoa, slow down. What if it doesn't work out? It's exhausting.
Sincero says, make the decision and own it.
Yeah.
Once you've decided, commit to it fully and don't second guess yourself. Close the door on doubt and move forward with confidence.
It's like we're signing a contract with ourselves saying, this is happening and I'm all in.
Exactly. She shares a funny story about how she was struggling to decide between buying a practical Honda or a flashy Audi.
Oh, I love this story. It's so relatable. The sensible choice versus the one that makes your heart race a little faster. What did she choose?
She went for the Audi. She did.
Even though it was more expensive
right.
and a little outside of her comfort zone, she decided to go for it.
Good for her.
It wasn't just about the car. It was about making a choice that aligned with her desires and her vision for herself.
I love that. Sometimes we need to give ourselves permission to have those things that we truly desire, even if they seem a little impractical or indulgent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Sincero talks about how that decision actually shifted her self-perception.
Oh, wow.
By choosing the car she truly wanted, she started to see herself as someone who deserved to have nice things.
It's like our decisions can have a ripple effect, influencing how we see ourselves and the world around us. It's about raising our standards and stepping into a new level of badassery.
Totally. And this section also dives into the often dreaded topic of money mindset. This is something a lot of us struggle with.
Ugh, money. Don't get me started. I think I have a PhD in financial anxiety. So what's Sincero's take on money? Does she have any magical money manifesting tips?
Well, she emphasizes that money is simply energy.
Okay.
It's an exchange of value between people.
And when we have a negative mindset around money, I'll never have enough. Money is the root of all evil.
Right.
We're basically blocking the flow of abundance into our lives.
So it's like we're putting up these invisible walls, preventing money from flowing freely?
Exactly. And it all comes back to those subconscious beliefs we talked about earlier.
Right.
If we believe we're not worthy of financial abundance, we'll unconsciously sabotage our efforts to attract it.
So how do we break down those money blocks?
Sincero suggests reframing our thinking.
Okay.
Instead of focusing on lack, we need to cultivate an abundance mindset. She encourages us to shift our thinking from money is scarce to money is abundant and always flowing.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's about seeing the world as a place of limitless possibility instead of constantly worrying about not having enough.
Exactly. And she also recommends using affirmations and visualizations to reprogram our subconscious beliefs about money. It's about seeing ourselves as worthy and capable of creating financial abundance.
So instead of stressing over bills, we can visualize ourselves living a life of financial freedom and ease.
Yes. It's about aligning our energy with that vision and taking inspired action to make it a reality.
And she also talks about the importance of knowing our worth and charging accordingly.
Right. When we undervalue our skills and services, we're not only shortchanging ourselves, but we're also sending a message to the universe that we don't believe in our own value.
It's about recognizing that we have unique gifts to offer the world and that we deserve to be compensated fairly for them.
Absolutely. And she recommends finding mentors and surrounding ourselves with people who have a healthy relationship with money. Their energy and beliefs can rub off on us and help us shift our own perspectives.
It's amazing how the people we spend time with can influence our beliefs and behaviors. If we want to attract abundance, it makes sense to surround ourselves with people who are already living it.
Totally. And finally, she talks about the importance of surrender.
Surrender? I thought this was all about taking action. How can we surrender and still achieve our goals?
It's not about giving up or being passive.
Right.
It's about trusting that the universe has our back and that everything is unfolding as it should. It's about letting go of the need to control every outcome and allowing ourselves to be guided by a higher power.
It's like having faith that everything will work out in perfect timing, even if we don't know how.
Exactly.
Sincero uses this cool analogy to explain this. She compares throwing a party to creating our dream life.
Right. When we're attached to a specific outcome, like everyone showing up to the party or being a huge success, we create a lot of pressure and anxiety. But when we surrender and trust that the universe will provide, we can relax and enjoy the process.
It's about shifting from fear and control to trust and flow. It's like saying, okay, universe, I'm ready to dance.
Exactly. And that's when the magic really starts to happen.
I love that.
We create space for miracles and synchronicities to unfold.
Wow. This has been such an empowering deep dive into You Are a Badass. It's like a reminder that we all have the potential to create a life. We love a life that feels aligned with our true selves.
Oh, it does. It all starts with embracing our inner badass.
Yes.
Cultivating self-love, practicing gratitude, and taking bold action towards our dreams.
It's about believing in ourselves, even when it feels scary.
Yeah.
And it's about remembering that we don't have to do it alone. The universe has our back. So, dear listeners, we leave you with this final thought. What if the only thing standing between you and the life of your dreams is your own fear? What if you could break free from those limiting beliefs and step into a reality filled with abundance, joy, and limitless possibility? It's time to unleash your inner badass and create a life that truly lights you up. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
See you next time.